we're going to head over to the United States and cover some of the riots here. We got all kinds of rioting happening. Very isolated in certain areas. Parts of America are not. Most of America is being unfeathered by this. This is just in specific, targeted zones of pain that the media is all over, like stormtroopers into Poland, making it, trying to work things up more than what they are, like they always do. And we got the protests here. Where is this in? Protesters flocked to downtown LA. This was 2 hours ago. So we're getting some footage here of people starting to protest. It's the weekend, folks. But people are arriving in the downtown area there. Now, I do have a message I want to put out there, guys. I do want to say something. Guys, if you're illegal, you're illegal. If you're illegally in a country, you're illegal.
Copy that. Live streaming.
What more can you say? If you're illegal, you're illegal. I mean, I went when I went to the United States. I went and I did all the paperwork that they asked me to do, and they basically after I did a lot of paperwork and a lot of money. And they basically told me, no, you're not welcome in our country. I believe it is so hard to become an American because I tried. I made sure I had my $32,000 in the bank. I'm like in an American bank account, or 31,000. I can't remember. It was like 32 grand. I had to get a corporation to sponsor me. I had to make sure that I wrote. I had to show proof of running ads that I'm not stealing an American's job. I had to do so much stuff. You guys have no idea how much work I had to do. And a corporation to sponsor me, a health check, background check, all kinds. They told me, we don't want you here. Come back in 5 years. So I'm thinking it's almost impossible, like if you want to become an American, to be an American. I think it's almost impossible. I did it by the book. They showed me the door and they told me to get lost. So, which is fine because it's their country. They could do that. But it's very interesting. If you're illegal, you're illegal, right? So there are protests, people showing up. Here's more footage here on the side of people showing up to protest against ICE or protest against the deportation of illegal aliens in the country. I just don't understand. Like, I mean, Canada did it to the Portuguese, right? They rounded up all the kids at schools that spoke Portuguese. But those families came on a path to citizenship, to live in Canada, and they were deported. But Trump's doing the same thing that was done to the Portuguese in Canada in 2006, 7, and 8. So this is pretty intense, guys. There's lots of footage here you guys could check out. But this was a few hours ago. No King's protest underway in downtown LA. There's the Trump balloon over there. Someone's got a Trump balloon over there. But if you're illegal, you're illegal. And let's get more footage here. There's more footage here.
I've ever seen them start shooting people with rubber bullets. Not even 5 minutes. What the fuck was that?
A shot with a rubber bullet. That shit hurts. He's helping out right now.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
How close were you to the gun?
They were like 2 feet away.
What do you think? What's the difference between ICE and the LAPD?
LAPD belongs to us. They work for us. They're our police. They're not supposed to work with us.
LAPD eats corn the long way. I've been saying it since the beginning of today. Look at them. You can tell.
So now they're advancing.
So there's all stuff happening here in the United States there with these riots. Trump to begin mass deportation of Soros-funded rioters. Yes, you heard it right. Soros-funded rioters. Those Soros-funded rioters, I like calling them the $200 boys. They get $200 to go and riot and burn things down and trash public property, and then they get bailed out by Soros groups. Again, this is old news on this channel. This is ancient news here. And President Trump has vowed to launch mass deportation targeting Soros-funded rioters, focusing on non-citizens involved in violent acts during riots, aligning with new Republican-led legislative push. And things are about to break. The thing about breaking the law is there's effectively a waiving of your constitutional rights that's sort of inherent in our system. So you guys keep that in mind, what I just read there. And Trump deploys National Guard and U.S. Marines in Los Angeles amid escalating riots. And we told you that they may be martial law implemented, and they'll have to pull it off in a certain way. They'll have to trick the entire country into believing that martial law is necessary. How will America, or how would the media, or how would they trick the country into believing that America is in need of martial law? How are they going to sell that, right? It's like they tried to sell the Civil War in the North. It wasn't about freeing slaves, because no one would have fought. Right? How did they sell the war in the North? Well, the evil South is getting too strong. The evil South wants its own currency. The evil South doesn't want to be part of the crown of England anymore and pay its taxes. The evil South wants secession and nothing to do with Europe. Yeah, they sold that war in the North, that the South is going to take over and destroy and murder families in the North. Oh, yeah. So let's move on. And Mexican president, we are not okay with raids on honest working people. Again, guys, if you're illegal, period. There's no question about it. You're illegal, you're illegal. That's it. Countries form borders to protect their citizens. Taxpayers pay border guards and border security to protect your interests, protect your lives, your families, your private property. You're illegal, you're illegal. Again, Canada, mass deportations. They would go to the workplaces and the schools where all the Portuguese, and venues where the Portuguese were, and arrest them right there. Portuguese that came on a path to citizenship with the previous administration and had children in Canada all got their asses deported back to Portugal. And exposed, no King's protesters admit Soros NGO paying $200. Oh, the $200 boys, the $200 boys, plus bricks and Molotov cocktails. So they're paying them $200 a day plus bricks and Molotov cocktails. Several paid protesters have come forward with alarming evidence. The radical activist group No Kings is paying individuals up to $200 a day to protest while supplying bricks and Molotov cocktails at designated sites to deliberately escalate violence. Oh, yeah. And, oh, here's one. Here he is, right here.
I just got offered $200 a day to go protest ICE in New York. The organization was called No Kings. They said June 14th we're going to be protesting, and these are the streets that you need to be on, and this is what you need to do. You need to cause chaotic disruptions, and they said that there's going to be pallets of like bricks and different things everywhere that protesters could use. They really want to wreak havoc. It's kind of ridiculous. Me as an American, although I need the money, I'm like, this is very, very unpatriotic. If I was to go take this money and go protest, it's not very American. It's not what I stand for. It's obviously not even, worth the time. But, $200 a day is what they're paying people to go protest. The corruption is up here because it goes way beyond these organizations. They want to destroy America, and people like me that need money are gonna go do it. I'm not gonna go do it, but people are gonna go do it. They're gonna go destroy the city and cause chaos. It's just crazy that, they're even paying.
Well, there it is right there. And officers move in on protester deploying flashbangs.
We started.
And you can see it here. And these are all bought and paid for. You could tell the way these protesters are dressed, in the way that a lot of these protesters even look. You could tell that a lot of them are bought and paid for. And yeah, a lot of them are wearing surgical masks too, ski masks. This is all bought and paid for, funded, bought, paid for. And it happens. You're illegal, bud. The previous administration let you in because they were corrupt as hell. And now the current administration wants you out. And that's just how it works. And every Senate Democrat demands Trump withdraw military from Los Angeles. And the letter of 46 Senate Democrats asked Trump to immediately withdraw the all military. Nobody cares. Now, when I'm talking about the whole Portuguese thing, I'm telling you guys, I'm sick and tired of the media saying, oh, Donald Trump is holding back all the children or getting the children or rounding up the children in high schools and schools and waiting for their parents and stuff. Hitler did that. No. Toronto did that. Archbishop Romero Catholic Secondary School and St. Mary's right here. Illegal immigrants told to stay on the ground. They weren't illegal. They came on a path to citizenship to Canada. A prominent Portuguese-Canadian group is advising people who are living illegally in Canada to remain underground after the group of 24 Portuguese workers were deported on the weekend. And they didn't come here illegally. They came on a path to citizenship. The next administration came and we don't like Portuguese. They're gone. And they deported 54,000 Portuguese. Families were deported. So then the news needs to make it look like, oh, these illegals are here. So everything Donald Trump is doing today, it was already done by Canada. So don't worry. He's not copying Hitler. He's copying what they did to Portuguese in Canada. Large-scale deportation of Portuguese in 2006. At the start of the 2006 Portuguese community in Canada became one of the targets of the Conservative government's policy to deport illegal workers. They're workers. How did they come here and work if they were illegal? They were on a path to citizenship. At that time, many believed that this was an attempt to eliminate unskilled workers and attract immigrants with higher education. Hey, how did that work? Hey, how did that work out? The high-skilled immigrants that are coming in. They can't fix nothing. They can't repair nothing. They work in the banks. They work at your airports. The Canadians don't get those jobs no more. That's for the migrant to come in and work at the bank. But God forbid there's a leak in the roof at the bank because all the migrants will look at the leak. They're going to put duct tape on the leak because there's no Europeans there to fix it. And deportations up 22%. There we go. The number of Portuguese citizens deported to Portugal in 2021 increased by 22% compared to 2020, with the majority coming from European countries, namely Norway, France, and the United Kingdom. So if you come in from France, Norway, United Kingdom as a Portuguese, they'll still deport your ass back to Portugal. They say the European Union is one country, is one thing with different states. No, you're Portuguese. They don't want you here. And that's the way we've been treated. I have to change my name on resumes. Watch my video on jobs I lost for being Portuguese. So Donald Trump is not copying Hitler. He's copying what Canada did. And we have a playlist on our YouTube channel, Tips for Americans to Deport Illegals. And I step-by-step break down everything that happened in Canada. All he has to do is what Canada did. And they're trying so hard to hide this in Canada. Like this never happened before and Canada's fair and Canada loves everybody. Bullshit.